And now we'd like to welcome Dave Will from the Seneca Park Zoo. Hey, Dave, what do you got for us?
I have an African hedgehog who is named Einspine.
Einspine.
And that is because he is covered in so many of these spines.
All right.
Now, are these spines the same as what porcupines have?
They are a little bit different. So porcupines we call quills. And quills are specific because they are barbed. And what happens is they can use them for defense, they'll come out of the body, and they'll stick with that predator, whoever was trying to mess with them, and really give them some business. These guys, their spines will not remove from the body unless they fall out like hair do. And they're actually just specialized hairs which are hollow, which make them really spiky and is a good mode of defense.
So now they have spines on a lot of parts of their body for protection. What about the parts that are not covered with spines?
A good example, what he's doing right now is he is covering up his belly and his face. What he does is he'll move a patch of skin from the top of his head over his eyes, so he'll roll up with really strong muscles into a ball, and these spikes actually protect him from any kind of predators or anything else like that. And he'll also do something interesting. It's called anointing, which is an interesting behavior, which will make it so that he can cover himself in his own spit and anything that he finds that smells really bad, and then he will be less appetizing to other animals because of that.
Now, the spines don't look like they're going to keep him very warm.
Right.
Do they live in cold climates?
So not necessarily. This species specifically, he is an African hedgehog. So he is mostly coming from Eastern Africa.
Okay.
And that area is very, very dry. It doesn't rain a lot, and these spines don't provide much warmth. They don't provide much protection from weather, and he's making noises. They won't help him from sun either, so he can actually get a sunburn if he was out too long. So he needs a dry, arid place with an appropriate shade, and that's why he comes out mostly at night. So he doesn't like to deal with the sun much.
So what are hedgehogs going to eat?
Oh man, hedgehogs, they are omnivores, which is very special. They will eat lots of vegetation, even some eggs if given the chance, and then also insects, mostly insects.
Okay.
And a lot of the insectivorous nature of them is pretty interesting because they eat bugs and insects that are highly poisonous, so they can actually eat those things, digest them just fine, which makes them really amazing. They can also, they have a natural immunity to some snake venoms as well, so they're really amazing animals.
Now, what would eat a hedgehog?
Now, very good question as well. And that is the question, right? What would eat a hedgehog? This guy is mostly going to be eaten by birds of prey. Anything that can protect its talons or its feet from his spines. You know, if they have really big talons, like a big owl or something like that, they can come in and grab.
Right.
Also, some animals have designed themselves so they can get to that belly. They can open them up if they're strong enough, if they're big enough. Open them right up and then go for the belly. But other than that, not much. Not much, and they're very well protected.
So seeing that there's not a lot of things that can eat these things, what are some things that are going to threaten the hedgehog?
So as the normal thing goes, mostly humans, our activities in their area, and a lot of times their spines are actually used as jewelry, and even in some cultures as a good luck charm. For crops and other seasonal type things. So yeah, predation hunting by humans, poaching by humans, that's a big one. Other than that, they do have some habitat loss and some other things like that. So. Okay.
He keeps tucking himself away. Yes. Do hedgehogs make good pets?
Now, we always get this question.
Sure, because you've had some really cool animals on the show with us.
We get this question a lot, which is good for people to ask. Really do your research before you get an animal.
Right.
It's very, very important to know their habits, their ecology. He lives at night most of the time, so if you'd like a pet that is covered in poop, super spiky, and is up all night, then this is for you. Other than that, I would suggest getting a little more of a cuddly animal as a pet.
Sure.
Hedgehogs also are quite temperamental, they can be, and they like to be solitary and they like to be left alone. So,
yeah, look how he just came out.
I know, right now he's all like hanging out. Cool, Dave, thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Now, if you would like to learn more about the Seneca Park Zoo and see other videos about animals, visit our website, homeworkhotline.org. And now, stay right there. We'll be back in a second.